Welcome, everybody. So glad you could join us this morning. My name is Jerry Suhrstedt, and welcome to my live stream today called How I Went from Job Hunting to Client Hunting. We're going to have some fun this morning. Hold on here. We're having a small technical difficulties, and I fixed it. Anyway, so glad you could join us. My name is Jerry Suhrstedt, and I am the host of the Jerry Rig Business Marketing Podcast. Also, I am the founder and CEO of Sumolab Total Business Marketing. You may have seen my posts on LinkedIn. I try to have some fun, impart some knowledge, and always willing to listen and talk with folks. So feel free to check in with me. If you've been job hunting for any amount of time, you know how ridiculous it is right now. It's crazy out there, and you're getting ghosted by recruiters. You're getting ghosted by hiring managers. Some of the job postings are just plain fake. I have no idea why that's going on. Kind of a weird deal. Never heard of that before. So the job market is crazy tough right now, and there's a lot of talented people feeling burnt out. So stick around, and I got some ideas and some suggestions on how you can make that pivot where you can go from job hunting to client hunting, okay? So stick around, and we're going to get going here in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
This is the Jerry Rigged Podcast, your no-nonsense knowledge base for business technology, marketing, and analytics. And now your host, Jerry Suhrstedt.
What's life without a little bit of pop and pizzazz and music, right? Also, if you're on LinkedIn right now, you can jump on a chat window, and if you send me questions, I can probably jump in there and answer them. So do that. I have a PowerPoint presentation that we're going to go over, and it's going to really, I think, help you guys kind of think outside the box. So let's get going on that. And like I said, thank you for taking time out of your day to stop by. Once again, my name is Jerry Suhrstedt, founder of Sumolab Total Business Marketing. And that's how you can get a hold of me. Just right up front, you can send me an email if you just have questions, just want to talk, jerry@sumolab.co, and then you can follow me at hashtag JerryRigged to rock your business technology. So my promise today is that we're going to walk away with a new way to look at things, with a fresh perspective, okay? And if you've kind of been bummed out, I get it. I totally get it. And I'm going to try to motivate you to try new things. And then we're going to start to help you think outside the box, and then learn how to be a rebel just a little bit. And if that's something you're not comfortable with, when we're done here, you might feel a little more comfortable. So let's see. Okay, here's a quick exercise. Some of you may have heard this one before, but here's the quick exercise. And the idea here is to solve this problem. So imagine you have this beautiful, gorgeous butterfly, and it's trapped inside of a glass bottle that is sealed. And your task is to figure out how to get the butterfly out of the bottle without killing it and without breaking the bottle. So that's your task. That's the only rule is to figure out how to get the butterfly out of the bottle and without killing the butterfly, of course, and without breaking the bottle. So think about that for a half a second. If you want to chime in on the LinkedIn chat window, go ahead and you can throw something in there. Let's see here. Let me look on my comments, see if anybody has chimed in so far. That's fine. So when I was first given this problem, everybody in the room was just trying to just racking their brains. And I think I'm a little bit of a rebel, because when they asked me, well, so how would you get the butterfly out of the bottle. I said, break the bottle. And he said, well, that's the rule that you can't do. I said, well, the butterfly's life, this beautiful butterfly, its life is more important to me than a dumb bottle. I just break the bottle. So anyway, it just so happens that that was the correct answer. Breaking the bottle symbolizes the more rebellious, out-of-the-box approach. I'm a little bit of a rule breaker. It emphasizes that sometimes when we're faced with constraints or rules, the most effective solution might be to challenge the rules. Now, I'm not going to say that that works all the time. I have been fired from jobs for being a little bit of a rule breaker. Some companies like people who challenge the rules, others don't. Some situations, sticking to conventional paths or constraints can limit creativity or efficiency. The rule-breaking answer, breaking the bottle, can be seen as a metaphor for disrupting norms and challenging the status quo. So that's how I roll. Another way to look at life is the glass half empty or half full? So some might think, well, there's really only two answers. It's either half full or it's half empty, right? Well, depends who you are. If you're an optimist, you're probably saying that the glass is half full. If you're a pessimist, you might be saying that the glass is half empty. If you're a realist, you might just be saying, well, it's just a glass of water, whatever. And then the physicist says, well, actually, it's a glass of liquid and gas because there's air on top. Then you got the surrealist. I'm not even totally sure what that is. The relativist says, well, actually, it's both. It's relative. It's half empty and half full. The utopist says that the water sits on top, or wants it to sit on top, so it looks like it's half full, but it's not. It's obviously going to sit on the bottom. The skepticist says it's not even water. And then the artist says, hey, I just want to paint. Anyway, so the point here is to illustrate that there's so many ways to look at things, and that's kind of what we're going to do. So the current landscape in the job market, it's rough out there, right? It's really tough. And we're seeing high competition, endless ghosting from recruiters and hiring managers, and oh my goodness, it's a never-ending frustration, right? Studies are showing burnout rates among job seekers, and some of this is taking a mental toll. And if you read LinkedIn on a daily basis, I think you'll agree with this. You're seeing folks on there that are rage posting. They pumped out 1,000 resumes. They haven't gotten a call back, which could be a lot of issues, actually. But people are just really, really, really frustrated. And there's a lot of games being played out there in the marketplace. Personally, I think there's zero excuse to ghost people. If you treat people like people and as humans, just like you want to be treated, you're not going to do that. These companies that are posting fake jobs is abhorrent. Abhorrent. If you're on unemployment and unemployment is requiring you to submit like 6 job postings a week or 4 or whatever, it depends on which state you're in. You could be posted all fake job postings because some of the jobs that you're submitting resumes to don't even exist and they have no plans to hire anyone. So anyway, ridiculous. So here's a couple of numbers I found really interesting. Right now, approximately, there is about 7.1 million job openings in the United States. But there are 33 million companies in the United States. Let's assume that the average company has 3 projects they need done. That could be IT, marketing, consulting, whatever. They have 3 projects. There's going to be companies that have no projects. Then there's going to be companies that have, 100 projects. But let's say that we got an average of 3. That's close to 100 million potential projects that have nothing to do with hiring W-2 employees. Okay? So think about that for a half a second. it kind of feels like there's some opportunity there outside of just getting a job. So let's look at some of the pitfalls we're seeing. One of the biggest frustrations applying to roles, it seems like the job is perfect for you on paper. Let's see here. People trying to get a hold of me on LinkedIn in the middle of the day. All right. Maybe you've gotten to the final rounds of interviews and then nothing, crickets, ghost, radio silence. It's making everyone rethink their approach. Okay. So it's maybe time to start thinking about, instead of trying to look for a door to open, let's build our own door. How's that sound? Let's see here. Next one. There we go. All right. So it's time to start thinking. Now, I'm not suggesting that starting a business is the easiest thing in the world. It's not. With that being said, you may have gotten laid off last week and you're just starting things. Well, I can tell you there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of people on LinkedIn. And these folks have been out of work for anywhere from 6 months to well over a year. Hundreds of interviews, hundreds of resumes pumped out, ghosted. One guy was actually given a job offer 2 days before start date. The job was pulled from underneath him. So these are the types of things that are happening. So what I'm suggesting here with this particular live stream is the opportunity to start thinking differently. And so that's kind of why we're going through this exercise. So think about the fact that you already have skills. You're a problem solver, you're a strategist, you're a consultant. It's time to pivot from I need a job to I can create value and then get paid for it. Because ultimately, it's kind of the same, right? The case for starting your own consultancy or agency. Today, when we're talking about starting your own business, we're going to kind of live in the world of consultancies and agencies, because most of the folks that I interact with are graphic designers, web designers, marketing people, technology, CRM consultants. They kind of live in that world. So that's kind of where we're going to focus today. So that's why I'm talking about consultancy and agency. So W-2 jobs versus owning your own business. What's the difference? What are the key differences? Well, when I got into this and really started nailing things down, as it turns out, there's really not much difference. It's more of a mental thing. So let's get into that. So just quick overview, and we're going to dive into each of these real quick, or actually a little bit deeper. W-2 job versus a consulting agency. Now, a consulting agency could be IT, could be CRM, technology, marketing consulting, business consulting, pretty much anything that you know and have experience in. You can leverage that and turn that into a consultancy, because you might think, well, I've only been in business for 10 years. I don't really know that much. Well, there's people that have only been in business for 6 months and they know way less than you do. So you can leverage that experience and that knowledge, okay? Let's see here. W-2 jobs, selling your skills. You got to sell that to employers. Consulting agency, you got to sell your skills to clients. Same thing. Income dependency. With the W-2 job, one paycheck. Income dependency with your own business, it's spread out over multiple clients. If you got 5 clients and one fires you, you still got 4. Job security. Always at risk of layoffs or being fired. I mean, job security is 100% controlled by you with your own business. Workload set by the employer. They tell you what they need done and when you can work and when you can have days off, right? The workload for your own business set by you. Career advancement through promotions. Career advancement on your own business based on growth. Networking. In working for the corporate world, it's key for career progress. And networking is for your own client acquisition when you own your own business. Performance reviews done by employer. I always say that performance reviews are a session so that they can figure out a way to not pay you more money. Consulting agency, client reviews done by the clients. If you do a good job, that's what they do. They tell everybody you did a great job. W-2 job benefits, employer provided. Benefits in a consulting agency, you choose your own. Taxes withheld by the employer in a job, and taxes you manage and you pay yourself, which some people think that that's really hard to do, and it's not a big deal. It really isn't. Is a job stable? In today's job market, there's an assumption that if I get a job, that I got this sense of stability and security. While you are an employee, I guess you kind of do. But at any day, obviously some companies in some roles within a given industry can be more stable than others, obviously. But in 2024, is that really the case? I mean, honestly, that's all I hear about on the news every single day is about how thousands of people are being laid off by Amazon or this. And then, no more work from home. We're going to switch you to hybrid. Oh, we're going to switch you from hybrid to full-time on-site, which is a nice way of telling folks who've gotten used to remote work, you're probably going to quit, and that's what we want. When it comes to companies these days, you get little notice, leaving you blindsided and scrambling to find a new job. So that's what's happening in 2024. In the 1980s, 1990s, a little bit different, but as of today, 2024, personally, I don't think there's a lot of job security at all. So when you are job hunting, you're selling yourself, you're selling your skills, you're selling your services, and the energy time that you put into job search, that's a full-time job. It is full-time. Pumping out resumes, redoing your resume. You really should be putting out resumes that are actually customized for every single job that you're applying for. You can spend 8 hours a day doing that. And then once you start getting interviews, then you got to prepare for each interview. And some of these companies will put you through 4 and 5 rounds of interviews. Some of them even ask you to produce a project at no pay, by the way, only to find out you didn't get the job. And then when you land the job, the security you think that you have, it can disappear in a moment's notice. Now, notice, I'm not saying every single job is like this. Obviously not. My brother works for a hospital network up in Washington State in the IT department, and he's been there 120 years. Actually, it's been 15, 16, I want to say. But yeah, pretty stable job. He gets paid decent money, and he's got a slack job. He's kind of kicks back and does his thing, and he's got a cool boss. And so those are a little bit of the exceptions. So W-2 job. Let's talk about that. Selling your skills. You're always selling your experience and skills at a regular job. Income dependency. Your entire paycheck depends on one company's financial health. If they go down, you go down with it. Job security. Your job is never fully secure. Companies can lay you off at any minute. Workload and deadlines. You are responsible for meeting the company's goals, deadlines, and objectives. That's part of that W-2 job. Career advancement. Promotions and raises are determined by management, by some other person. Let's see. W-2 job. Networking. You still need to build professional networks and grow with the company and the industry. That's just part of having a good job. Performance reviews. Your future at the company hinges on periodic reviews of your work performance. Like I said, an excuse to not give you any more money. Employee benefits, health insurance, retirement plans, other perks are often provided, though they're not always guaranteed. And then taxes are automatically deducted from your paycheck. So those are some of the nice things about a W-2 job. So let's look at starting your own business, your own consultancy, your own agency, whatever the case may be. You still got to sell your skills. You're pitching your experience and your expertise directly to clients, just like you would to an employer. Income dependency, you can secure income from multiple clients, reducing your reliance on just one source of revenue. Let's see what else. Workloads and deadlines, or job security. You control your work when you run your own business with your clients and projects, and you don't really have a risk of a layoff from one employer if you have 4 or 5 clients that are giving you regular work and one of them fires you, or even 2 fire you. You're still not completely destitute. Workloads and deadlines, you set them, you manage them, you give your customers great service, and you decide which projects that you want to work on. Career advancement, your growth is totally determined by your performance and effort. No waiting for a promotion. You work hard and you bust your buns and you get some good clients. Man, the sky's the limit. Networking. Now you're networking for you in your company. Client reviews, client satisfaction influences reputation. The better you do, the more people will love you. Benefits, you can choose your own benefits. Now, if you're working, let's say as a Salesforce admin and you're making $50 an hour, you can easily charge $90 to $100 an hour with your own consultancy, which, by the way, is 1/3 of what the big consultancies charge. So you could charge $100 to $130 an hour as a Salesforce admin and still be way lower than the larger consultancies. But then, if you're working from home, you have minimal overhead. So you can charge that lower rate and still be making more than double what you would be making as a W-2 employee. So if you're doing that, then you can afford to pull out a few bucks for some healthcare benefits and pay your own taxes and still be way ahead of the game. And then, of course, taxes, you manage and pay your own. And that's one of the biggest differences, probably one of the biggest pains in the neck. But if you set up QuickBooks, you track your expenses and you learn that game, you can write off your home office. You can write off part of your car. You can write off trips for work, for your business. There's so many things you can write off and save money. So in both cases, either way, you're constantly marketing yourself. You're building relationships, managing your workload, ensuring that clients are happy. The key distinction with your own consulting agency is that you have more control over your income and career trajectory, and you also take on responsibilities like paying your own taxes. Those are really I've been in business in one way, shape, or form for more than 20 years, and accounting and taxes are probably the biggest difference between that and running, having a job. So why consultancy or agency? Well, because many of you folks out there are in technology. It's flexible, scalable. You can start small and get bigger. A lot of you folks out there are already doing marketing. You can offer marketing services. A lot of you folks are in business or understand business or work for companies as a consultant. So you can be a consultant for business strategy, HR consulting, IT solutions, Salesforce, CRM, marketing, automation, all of that. So there's plenty of need out there in the marketplace. So questions. Let's talk about what would motivate a company to hire you in your own business versus just hiring somebody to work for them full time. Well, many companies are cutting back, and we already know this. We see the layoffs and the firings and the trickery that they use to get rid of old people. Retire early, Bob. Here's a couple of months of severance, and I know you've been with us for 30 years and you make a lot of money, but we kind of want you out of here, so we're going to incentivize you to retire early. So a lot of these companies are motivated to not hire W-2 employees. They call them head counts. So as a freelancer or consultant, if you're costing them about half of what they normally cost, plus they don't have the commitment of hiring somebody and having to keep them forever and give them benefits and payroll burden tied in with their existing pay, then there's lots and lots of motivation and reasons for companies to hire a freelancer or a small consultancy to help them with the projects that they have going on. So success stories. I've seen folks transition from just marketers who just been laid off. They jumped in and started their own company, and next thing you know, they They have 4, 5, or 6 clients, and they're rocking and rolling. These guys are not overnight successes. It takes time. But, if you're going to spend the next year pumping out resumes, and then at the end of it, if you don't get hired, you're exactly where you started. Where today, if you just got laid off, you go ahead and start that consultancy. You're building brick by brick through this process over the next 6 to 12 months, something that's going to be owned by you. Every single person that I've ever really known that did this process, moved into running their own business, almost every single one of them have always said one thing, and that was, I wish I had did this earlier. So there's some anecdotal feedback. So leveraging your existing skills. Are you great at organizing? Then maybe start a project management consultancy. Are you a marketing whiz? Then maybe you can be a marketing consultant. One of the hot items right now is fractional marketing, or let me see here, fractional CEOs, fractional CFOs. Let's see, chief marketing CMOs. Trying to think of what the acronym is. You essentially become let's say you're a marketing whiz and a company needs a chief marketing officer, but they can't drop $150,000 a year out of the gate and then pay bonuses on top of that. So you come in as a weekly, 10 hours a week kind of thing as their official marketing officer, but you're a fractional marketing officer because you have multiple clients. And then maybe you're charging, $95, $125 an hour. So they're saving a bunch of money that way, but they're getting the help they need as they grow. So that's something to consider. So how to get started. Let's talk about that real quick. Give you some step-by-step help here. Start by defining your niche. What is your niche? What are you good at? We'll pull in some quotes here from some of our comments. Okay. And then we got Vibor. Good morning. Great session already. Thanks, Vibor. I appreciate that. So start defining your niche. What problem can you solve? Who is your ideal client? Narrowing down your focus will make it easier to market and build authority in that space. So that's something that you need to do out of the gate. What's your niche? Are you a marketing person? Are you an IT? Are you a CRM consultant? Just kind of establish and define that niche and why you're cool. So let's see here. Step 2, build your brand. You got to build a brand. You got to have a reason or a thing that people know you for. Okay? Branding isn't just a logo and a website. It's a promise to your clients. It means something. It's a position. It's how to position yourself in the market. Are you the cheapest in town? Are you the best in town? Do you give the best service in town? All of those things go into like who you are and what you offer. Start with a simple website, LinkedIn profile, clear messaging about what you do and the problem that you solve. So that's part of your brand. Step 3, create your offering. Let's say you're a marketing consultant, such as myself. I try to package my services into very simple, clear, sellable offerings. Like this website comes in 3 flavors: good, better, best. I love the good, better, best. You've seen it before in bronze, silver, and gold package. Good, better, best. Anyway, you can have a website for $1,500, and then a better website for $2,500, and then a great website that has more pages and more functionality for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. So that's a way to do that. And you can apply that same fundamental concept to IT, consulting, business consulting, anything. Let's see. Hourly, you can also do this by the hour. Just charge it, based on each project. Retainer packages, that's another way to go about it. Just make sure that your services are simple and easy to understand and clearly priced. Client hunting versus job hunting. Well, instead of sending out resumes, you're sending out proposals. Kind of the same thing. Instead of applying to jobs, you're pitching your services, and networking becomes client prospecting instead of networking with recruiters and hiring managers. And yes, it's a numbers game, just like job hunting, but you have a lot more control. You can pump out literally 500 resumes and get 0 phone calls, 0 emails. I have quite a few years of experience, so I get contacted by recruiters still to this day, typically 3 to 5 times every single day. I get emails, phone calls, and text messages from recruiters constantly for marketing, Salesforce admin, Salesforce development, which I don't do. So with this, you can spend your time focusing on clients and getting those proposals. And once you sign up a client, you're kind of off and running. You only need a couple of clients to really kind of get a pretty killer, influx of revenue. So that's something to keep in mind. Marketing and lead generation. Utilize platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook and Google Ads. And I mean, there's just these days. Now, see, I'm an old school marketer, so I started out with print media, radio, and television. And there's so many more avenues to reach people these days. And so that's something to keep in mind. Showcase your expertise, share your valuable content. I post 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week on LinkedIn. Sometimes it feels like nobody's reading anything. And then after a while, man, I tell you, it's kind of weird what happens. People start contacting you. Hey, I'm just starting a company. I need some help with my marketing. I need help getting my LLC kind of going. Can you give me some direction? And that's where that whole consultant piece comes in. So consider starting a blog, a podcast, YouTube channel like this one, like the Jerry Rig podcast. That's why I do this. I do this because I enjoy it and I enjoy teaching, and it also helps my business. Overcoming the fear. It's normal to feel scared, Man, I'm so used to having that job. But if you've been trying to get that job now for a year, I think it's time to pivot. Time to start, trying some new things. What's scarier, staying stuck in a job hunt with no end in sight versus taking a leap and building something on your own terms? Think about that concept. Common challenges and how to overcome them. We're getting close to the end here, folks, so just kind of give you a little heads up. Managing uncertainty and financial risk. Yes, there is risk involved. There's risk getting out of bed. There's risk trying to get a job. There's risk when you cross the street. There's risk in everything we do. I think that the risk involved with starting your own agency and consultancy, the risk initially feels crazy big. And then after you pick up a client, then it's kind of like, oh, that risk feels a lot less risky. Then after you've done it for 6, 8, 9, 10, 12 months straight, you're just going, I can't believe that I've been working for companies all these years. I should have did this years ago. It's kind of a mental transformation that happens. So there's always ways to mitigate the risk. Start small, keep your day job while you build up your consultancy, assuming that you have a job right now, and offer your services on a freelance basis and test the waters. Maybe fire up a small sole proprietor business license with your local state, and then you can move into an LLC or something, 6 months down the road. So something to keep in mind. Handling rejection, just like job hunting, client hunting involves rejection. Not every pitch is going to land. Not every client will be the right fit. I have at times fired clients. That feels kind of good. They just weren't a good fit. You could tell that they had unrealistic expectations. I've sent many an email that says, I just kind of feel like we're never going to be able to meet your expectations. So, I'm going to recommend that you find someone else. And, when you're first starting, of course, you want to take every single deal. And 99% of the time, that's what happens. But you'll get to a point where you'll have a good little book of business and you start getting a little more choosy about who you work with. So the whole key is to learn from every interaction and refine your approach. And of course, balancing work and life. When you're your own boss, it's easy to let work take over. I have a home office, and my wife will let me know it's 6 o'clock, you're done. And so you got to just close up that laptop and spend time with your family. Set boundaries, manage your time. Remember, you're doing this to create more freedom. And at the end of the day, money is always part of the equation, but that freedom, to me, is the most important piece of the equation. I ran a post on LinkedIn. I think it's still live, but it had 3 questions. Which job would you take? $120,000 a year, but you had to work on site 5 days a week. $109,000 a year, and you had to work hybrid. And both of those included a 45-minute to hour drive. And then the last one was, would you rather take $96,000 a year, but work completely remotely? And I've gotten over 250 responses, and 88% said they'd rather take way less money and work remotely and work from home. So you can kind of see where most people are thinking. So conclusion and call to action. We've covered realities of the job market. We talked about starting your own consultancy or agency, which might be the right move for you, and how to get started and the challenges you might face along the way. So here's what I encourage you to do. I put this lady in there for a reason, because what it reminded me of, all this talk about ageism and sexism and racism and all this during the hiring process. Well, they didn't hire me because, I look like I'm 50 years old or whatever the case may be. When you run your own business, all of that kind of sort of just goes away. When a client's talking to you and, you're in your 60s, they just kind of look at you like, hey, this guy must know what he's talking about. I like that experience, but it always seems like, there's always this hesitancy when you're interviewing for a job. So I put this lady in here because I know lots of women who have women-owned businesses, and some of these women are in their 50s, 60s, 70s. They're real estate agents. They're running their own business. They're doing their thing, and nobody's fussing at them about how old they are. So that's kind of cool, I think. So it's not easy to run your own business, but you got the skills, you got the experience. Now let's just parlay those in and quit giving them to some company. Now, I'm not saying to stop looking for a job. Keep looking for a job. Fire up your own company. Put your company on your LinkedIn experience as a job. Don't say you're the owner. Don't say you're the founder. Just say, I work for myowncompany.com. and I am a Salesforce CRM consultant, and then put the experience you have on there. No one will know that you own the company. You don't have to tell them you own the company unless they ask. And so it gives you a lot of flexibility. So it's time to start client hunting and spend a little bit less time job hunting. So if you're ready to get going on this, and you just want to chit chat, you want to bounce some ideas off, you can hit me up on LinkedIn. Let's see. And, lastly, I just want to say, you know what all these companies got in common? So you got big Accenture, multi-billion-dollar, Slalom, multi-billion-dollar. Then you got my company in the middle there, Sumolab. You know what we all have in common? We all started somewhere. There was a Monday, when we did not have our own business. And then the very next day, Tuesday, we started our companies. So that's what we all have in common. Now, obviously, I don't run at the same level as these other guys, but when clients are looking at you, they don't know. They don't know how big you are or how small you are. So there you go. That's all I got for today. If you want to contact me, just send me an email at jerry@sumolab.co, not .com, .co. And then you can follow me on hashtag JerryRigged on LinkedIn. And then also on LinkedIn, just ping me, just send me a message and I'll respond to you. I promise not to ghost you unless you're trying to sell me some Ginsu knives or something on a multi-level marketing platform. That I'll probably ignore. So thanks a lot, you guys. Enjoy your day, and thank you for stopping in to the Jerry Rigged Podcast. And I got a little music outro here that I usually play, so let's do that and look all official, okay?
The Jerry Rigged Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or Google. Business technology for CEOs, managers, and business owners. We're here to deliver insights and strategies without the fluff. This is the Jerry Rigged Podcast.